Hello, everybody. I hope you can hear me clearly. I got the fan on. It's a kind of hotter day out, and I turned the AC down so it's a little warmer. And this video is about guns. I tried another video earlier. It was 35 minutes. It was poetry, real poetry, like a real poet does. Okay. And I love guns, so I prefer to do more videos about guns in particular. And just want to give a brief update. Trill of the Red Robin is moving along. I took about a week off from it. It's 116 full pages now. And I look forward to creasing the 200 mark by next week, the same time, maybe next week, Friday, because I started writing again. And I can get going and with all the details in there and setting up the plot and the sequence of events. There's a lot of chaos in between there, and it's really fun going in and out of different things when describing it. And some negative things occurred lately at work where I feel like if I speak to someone at my work about it and my love of writing and the COVID story having to be told, I feel like there's a certain amount of backlash going on. And at this one job, I've worked for 7 years. In the last 2 years, I've been harassed nonstop by one individual. And the higher ups, because of scheduling, refuse to do anything about it. The person that's harassing me is mentally ill, and they cringe when I say that because he's a recovering alcoholic and he drinks some, and then it's re-triggered all his narcissism, all his sarcasm, all his vitriol, all those pains, you can see it in his face from his past, are reactivated each time. And the individual had health problems on top of that. And so when I explain to the higher ups that this individual has been harassing me for 2 years, I've told you and I've told many of people about it in charge, and just back the hell off of me. When I say that, then people say, "Oh, well, you're not a therapist or you're not a psychiatrist. You can't make a diagnosis for them." And I'm like, no, quite contraire. Quite contraire. I'm a seer, and when I look at people, there might be certain people who act a certain way, and they might fool you once or twice, but not 15 times. Okay. And though I'm not a perfectionist when it comes to criminology, I need to remind people of my background and my schooling and understanding criminal law, that the occupants of criminal law are usually criminals, or they would not call it criminology. You study involving those criminals and how those laws get broken, how society is harmed by it, how individuals are harmed by it. And working at Scout 182's beat, St. Elizabeth, where John Hinckley was, okay, there was many walkaways, and in uniform, I had to talk to many people on the King Avenue beat, so to speak, where all the liquor stores are across the street from King Avenue. And dealing with just people at their worst in general, you can tell when people are just frustrated, they're angered, they're sick, they're scared. Any other adjective to describe someone in trauma, in crisis, okay, experiencing trauma, but I say in trauma because literally there are different ways to act when people are in trauma. Some people act very aloof and kind of like, oh, really? It's not going to affect me? And then it might affect them the next day. It might affect them years later. Okay. You might think someone has a handle on it and they'll be okay because they're overcoming something. And then they're affected years later. Their work's affected. Their relationship's affected. They start into some kind of, I want to say bad habit, bad hobby, or addiction, so on and so forth. And when you get to speak to people on the street, and let's say you're just talking to them normally and you get to see cues Like their mannerisms is one thing, but what they use to say something, is it really connecting to what you are explaining to them when you're doing that exchange? And when you see someone that is not altogether there and they're flighty and it's like they're detoxing off of something, especially the stimulants like cocaine, and I'm reminded of the movie Boondock Saints. And you remember the two guys in that coffee shop and they were talking, and one guy was like, "Yeah, we're going to get made," and he's acting all coked up. People act like that usually are coked up. They're usually coming down off of something where they're very flighty, and I want to say euphoric, but they're not feeling the good. They're kind of like, dealing with their own, I want to say, psyche, and a little bit more of reality. So that reality that sets in makes them act flighty. And what I say is funny, right? We're going to be made men. And then, unfortunately, his demise came thereafter because those two set up one of the good bad guys. It was a great movie, Boondock Saints, one of my favorite all time. I actually liked it better than Pulp Fiction. And I love Pulp Fiction. But I didn't see Boondock Saints until years later after it was already out. And I was like, wow, that's wonderful. But anyways, that kind of flighty mentality, when you see people like that, don't trust anything they say because they're not all together here. Okay? And a criminologist knows this by just talking to people and picking up on cues like that. That flightiness, that rambling sense of mind and what they're thinking of at the time. Okay, because what they're saying could be rambling all over the place because their mind is going even faster and they're just catching up to it. They're only saying what they're allowed to say out of their mouth, and their mind is all over the place. The mind cannot focus on one thing. That means the mind is all over the place, okay? But they can say some things to give the appearance like they're all normal, they're cool, they're hip. And you're like, scratching your head like, really? Okay. And when you speak to somebody in the workplace about that, I've only been politically correct, and everybody knows this person has issues. And for lack of a better term, the relapse occurred many, many times over 3 years. And people have known that by the phone calls late at night. And happy-go-lucky, I'm getting drunk. This one lady wants to dance with me, but I don't know if I'm going to take her home. And then she doesn't want to dance with me. But anyways, I was hoping you're doing okay. Have a good day. And then hanging up on you before you can say anything. That kind of drinking mentality. It's very unhealthy when you see that. You don't have to be a therapist to describe that in layman's terms. And I don't appreciate being torqued out every time I'm relieved from my shift and then hearing a bunch of freaking emails that's directed to everybody about what we have to do better to improve. I'll leave it at that. And so I took a break, and I'm still writing Trill of the Red Robin, a COVID story. And again, it's true events based on a true story, but it is fictionalized because I care very much about those people involved, those that are still fighting the good fight. And so that's just a brief update with Trill of the Red Robin. It's not going to harm anybody, but it is a tragedy. Excuse me. I only drink Diet Coke once in a while because I used to drink them like it was going out of style. And I'm trying to stop coffee in general. So I drink a Diet Coke. With toothpaste breath. Not good. So anyways, doing videos on guns and stuff, I gave it a couple weeks break. I had a package day come and wanted to go over that. I walk into one of my favorite gun stores / pawn shops. Make of that what you will, because I go to many, and one of my favorites had SCCY CPX-1, brand new condition, ambidextrous safety goes up, pull it down, you see red even on this pink right here. You can see, just make out that red right above the lever. 10 plus 1. I did the ammo count because I figured this was 10 plus 1, judging by the smaller magazine than the 12. And brand new condition, everything in the box pink. Now that I have someone I can trust Cerakoting something, a color, I am going to make this all zombie green. Like my favorite carry. And I like this because sometimes I pull it out of my car and I have it in my hand and people can't tell what it is. My hand blocking most of the color. And I'm going to make this zombie green because I just don't like pink. You know, I think it's not about masculinity or femininity. It's just the pink color denotes, okay, a younger woman would use this. Would you give this to a man? Or would you make it a color that's asexual, so to speak? Okay? Bisexual, so to speak. But anyways, I don't like pink in general. I think it's an ugly color. It really has nothing to do with sex. But if I was to give this to a man to sell it to him, $149. Okay, 2 10-round magazines, California compliant, works well, safety is very positive. Okay, that being said, I'm looking at it, $149, and I was thinking of talking the guy down. And then one of the other guys behind the counter says, be sure to tell him about the other one. And the guy looks at him and says, the other one? Yeah, the other one in back. Okay? And so he knows I like cheap guns. The other guy that was speaking to the guy I was speaking to. So he comes out with a box. Brand new condition. SCCY CPX-1, 9mm, positive safety 2. Okay, 10 plus 1, $149. I believe these were estate sales at $149. They were just trying to get rid of them. Everything on this gun works. I want to test fire all these, eventually the cheaper guns, see what I might have an issue with, if I want to hand it out to someone, if I want to sell it to them during raw, without rule of law. These, and I don't mean throwdown guns, these are cheap guns that might get you through a bartering situation where you need something really bad. And those individuals you were dealing with says, arm me up, man. We're about to get fucked up by people marching down the street with freaking Molotov cocktails. Okay. And I'm like, yeah, hopefully this person I know is not a felon, and we put it in a holster and we monitor our building. I'll bring out my open carry AR-15s, trust me, and it won't be a threatening manner. But I see Molotov cocktails anywhere down the street, I'm busting off rounds so they know. I am. I'm going to do a Korean store owner. Okay? I'm going to be on private property, and I'm not going to be shooting at anybody, but hopefully they're down. I'm going to be warning some people, but somebody else in the community on private property might want to be armed too. And we display our guns for knowledge. Okay, maybe self-defense if someone with ill intent looks at us, but we don't produce them out of holsters. We don't put them at port arms like we're about to go to war. However, if we're on private property in Virginia, you can shoot a weapon on private property. Okay, I've looked into the bylaws. I'm almost certain there's no city restriction where a city tries to say that we're going to curtail your gun rights on your private property because there's this amount of people close to you. I'm not sure that's how it really works because that was revamped a couple of years before the Democrats took over. Check your local laws regardless. In Virginia, you can open carry, and they start to see a bunch of people with their holsters on the side, and they're standing out in front of their stoop. I don't care if black militants from the Israeli Black Caucus or whatever it's called march up there with the AR-15s or not. I don't care because they're not going to scare me. and I will make sure that they don't shoot up the block, because I will take some out if it goes nuclear. Okay? Not saying I'm going to just stand there all day long, but I'm going to make sure our building and units are protected. That's the way you need to think, working with community to protect your property. Anyways, hand this out. Hand this one out too. Hey, I can use this for self-defense. It's hot pink. I don't care for the color hot pink, but does it matter if you're talking about life and death? I'm just going to color code this, because the ugly colors I get really cheap. I'm going to zombie green it. I want this a little more mustard color, and I'm hoping that when I speak to the guy, they can make this a little more mustard zombie green. This is like fluorescent green. I love this color. Don't get me wrong. It's just a hair more mustard green, than this color. So, this one, $149. And I said, oh, really? Okay, take them both. So I was running around trying to take care of errands that day, and one of the guys there at the shop always says, no, come back and pay then, and then you'll get your guns. And I'm like, they don't care. The guns I buy, let me pay for it. My name comes back. You let me know when my name comes back. Okay, but it didn't work out that way, so I was running around paying errands, and then I forgot at the last second, I still have to pay for those 2 guns. So I pulled into my savings, and it was $315. Okay, both guns, 2 magazines, 20 rounds, 21 rounds total. And you might say this is a beater gun. This might be a throwdown gun. I don't believe in stuff like that. And I wouldn't do that even if I had a bad shoot, because I'd rather make a mistake than live with guilt the rest of my life and not atoning for it. That's me. Unfortunately, I work with police officers that don't think that way. Very nice. I might get this slide the same color. Maybe a different dark brown, so it looks like brown on one side and dark brown on the other. A shiny dark brown on the slide. And just go from there. That would look pretty tough. $149, $315 total out the door. And so there are ways you can still defend yourself if you go to different stores, different gun stores, different pawn stores. I pretty much swore off corporate sports stores since Dick's and Gander Mountain is turned to Gander, I believe it is, in Fredericksburg area. And they have mostly new stuff. And I know they have a good clientele that goes there and customers that buy a lot of good stuff. But I'm not traveling 55 minutes to an hour away with traffic, maybe an hour and 15 minutes sometimes, cutting through a couple counties to get there. Even the back roads is a long, lengthy ride just to buy a gun, and then be delayed on my name check and have to wait around all of Fredericksburg bored for an hour or so before my name comes back. And I haven't seen many good deals there because everything is brand new and super expensive. But I do believe people should support Gander Mountain because it was a big depot of handguns, rifles, and shotguns. Self-defense rifles, sniper rifles, long-range rifles. There's also a place in Fredericksburg called SMH or SMG, and they have all the stuff that military, police units, security units can use, like all the big BMG 50s and some, I want to say, NFA items like the squad automatic weapon, those bigger, larger weapons you can use, and it's going to cost you $15,000 at the very least. Plus, you do the paperwork for it and come back 6 months later. It's very niche, professional snipers go there. And in Northern Virginia, you can imagine that. Quantico, Fort Belvoir, Fort Pickett's down the road, Fort A.P. Hill, whatever they change their names to eventually, okay? Chesapeake in the Navy, the FBI headquarters on Quantico, You have creme de la creme of police forces in Northern Virginia that are very skilled in the same arts as our elitist military crack troops. You can believe that because that's where they came from, and they do it in a civilian manner. So, other things when I discuss tactical and tactful, I believe anybody can do what they want with their gun. It's just not my style to put a whole bunch of shit on. To include red dots. I don't want red dots all over my handguns. Okay, I don't want them all on my rifles or my more classic rifles like a lever action 92. I did a previous video on the Levtac 92 44 Magnum. And I love the 44 Magnum because it's something I'm dipping my toes in to have variety, where I just want something simple when I'm going to the woods to hunt or I'm going to the woods to plink. I'm not trying to do tactical battle drills. Okay, I don't want to sit there and shoot all day. I want to work on some skills with a rifle, and that's it. I don't think I'm experiencing ISIS that day, and I don't think I have to, go train all day long and be exhausted by the time I'm done. I like to do that. I wish I could do that once a week and do another week just trying out different guns, seeing what they can do, see their application, getting empirical knowledge from that and how I feel, my body feels about it, the ears, the mind muscle coordination, which all of us should do. Okay. At one of the gun stores / pawn shops I go to, they have a range. And it's so regulated, I cannot enjoy test firing a gun. You can test fire a gun, but that's all you can do. It's very regulated, and you have to listen to the range master for safety. I guess because it's a condensed area, of course, be safe. Can't argue with that. They make the rules, so I choose not to go there. I want to go to private property where I can shoot all day and I can experiment with other weapons. See how the cheapest weapons in the world work the best. And I'm often surprised the gems work so well. The cheap gems that allowed me to purchase them. And then it's only a matter of how long, if you're shooting them daily, practicing, and you're getting really skilled with these, okay, for carry concealed self-defense issue, okay, how long will it last? Because you trust the ammo you're shooting. It works every time. Is it just a matter of time before it breaks down? So you want to take very good care of it, okay? So talking about being tactical fools, I don't believe in being a tactical fool, but I will try something that works, and I'm not into bandoliers or straps. And I like to think that the Levtac 92 is going to work just as good as my Rossi. My Rossi 92 kicks worse than the largest 12-gauge shotgun 31-inch Mossberg you can think about. I used to shoot that all the time, full choke, and I'd have 5 or 6 welts all up and down my shoulder shooting. I can handle the kick. I loved it, still do, but I know what to expect. Okay, so you're shooting a 31-inch Mossberg full choke with double-aught buck. You're going to reach out there and get some deer. I've seen this before on videos where a hunter group of hunters line up on one side of the road, and their partners come from the opposite side chasing deer. Like that's where the word comes from, or the phrase deer run, the street signs, deer run, because all the deers will run in packs all at once from a set of people up the road, and then a whole bunch of hunters line up and safely shoot, side by side with a 12-gauge double-aught buck. And they shoot and they shoot and shoot. Then when their lanes of fire are about to encroach, they stop. Okay, and they move a little sideways to see more deer, and they shoot and shoot and shoot. So those deer can be literally hundreds of yards, about 100 yards away, and then they basically track down the deer after that, the ones they injured, and everybody goes home happy with a lot of deer meat. I've seen that before, and shooting the Mossberg 31-inch with full choke with a double aught bucket. I'm like, yeah, that's got some application in a wartime situation. If you have a bunch of people encroaching, and you can get off 6 good quick rounds and do a certain pattern at 100 yards, there's some military applications for that. But you're going to feel it with your shoulder. You might even knock, if you have weak shoulders, you might even knock your shoulder out of joint, and that's a sharp pain. I felt close to that before. I can only imagine when you dislocate your shoulder. But is it worth it? Are you going to practice with something like that? Well, I like my Levtac 92 because it's all black. I love all black tactical, being simple. And people say, oh, it's made of polymer, the hand grips and everything. It's like, well, you know what? If you are going to beat someone over the head with this and you have no more ammo, this is a pretty sturdy weapon, even with this plastic. And it's very sturdy. It doesn't move. Got the Picatinny reel, the M locks here. Okay. What I did was I looked on the shelf. This actually came from Gander Mountain, but this was at the gun store. So this was a trade-in or given to them, and it was actually $8. And I saw the latches here. I don't know what they call them, but they're spring-loaded latches, and it twists around. Then you put it in, you twist it back, holding the spring, and then let it go, and it stays right into the holes for this Levtac 92. And I bought an $8, I want to say, holster, okay, for the rounds, and it fits really well. I had to first put this piece on before the bandolier, and there's still excess here. I'm not worried about because it's not bothering anything. And when I line this up, safe direction, when I line this up, I expend all my ammunition. I go into emergency load. Okay, do I know how to do this very well, like a lot of competition shooters and people that are more skilled than me? No. Okay. But I do believe if I am behind cover and I have enough time to start loading, I have 18 rounds extra of 44 Magnum or 44 Special. Okay. I wanted something like that. I was thinking of putting a Picatinny pack of ammo here, and I've seen some like 6 rounds. But I wanted to do something more where I have a full load going right back in here for combat. Okay. So was it 10 plus 1? 10 plus 1? It was 10 plus 1 or 9 plus 1. I'll do the counts when I go shooting, of course, and start practicing. Very nice. Ghost ring sights. Front post. I might want a green red dot on this. Something simple. Put the sights down. But I would like to have a red dot that's zeroed into the actual front post. Something simple where you see the red dot and then you lower it, and when it's dead on, you got it going on. So here's the Levtac 92. Some eye candy. This, I'm not sure what they really call these because I don't use these for rifles much. Single action rifles and whatnot. And so I have a total of 18 extra rounds of 44 Special. I got 44 Magnum in here for the combat load. And I believe it is 10, no, it's 9 plus 1. So you have 10 rounds of 44 Magnum here, or 44 Special, plus an extra 19. Now, if you're hunkering down and you believe you're going to be battling all day long, of course you want more. How do you do it? I don't know. But tactically speaking, truck gun, 44 Magnum will go through most vests. 3A vests. They will. Okay. And a lot has to do with where are you lining up? You shoot to stop. Okay. But if someone's got a vest on, you know it. You know how to lower your round to the basically the lower solar plexus right above the hip. That's an option too, if you know what you're looking at. But if you're shooting at someone and they're not going down with 44 Magnum, then you need to take other actions and aim other places anyways. Arms, legs, crotch, butt areas, waist areas, head. Okay? And what do? We shoot to stop. We don't shoot to kill. We don't shoot to maim. We don't shoot to harm other people. We shoot to stop because of the threat of serious bodily injury or death. Great weapon, and I'm very proud of this, especially now. I can carry this down the road, open carry, and the cops would probably look and say, "Oh, damn, that's a lever action. Dang, he must know what he's doing because it's lever action. It's not semi-automatic, boom, 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 AR-15, and he's not trying to look like, super badass." So he might know a lot about guns, but that's pretty neat. Maybe I appear less of a threat to them. Okay? And other people might have great ideas what they can do to trick this out and keep it simple. Okay, but keep it simple in what they want to do. Okay, and not put a big scope on this like they're shooting out to 300 yards per se. Okay, this will give you protection out to 350 yards. I would bet my life on it. Is it enough firepower in an ongoing standoff? No. Okay, guerrilla tactics? Maybe, but then you'd be moving anyways out to be safe. Okay, but if you were in a barricaded situation and you're behind cover, this might be enough to ward them off. It might be enough to have a battle and retreat to a better location where you can get more firepower. So it's 10 plus 19. I just put some 44 specials in there for diversity. And I might get tired of the Magnums. And they checked them all out and put the specials in there. These work really well. And I have no doubt I'm going to love testing this out. And this might be my go-to war weapon. I have AR-15s. I have AR-15 pistols. And I believe in them, trust me. But this is just something different, being diverse in self-defense matters that I really enjoy, without tricking it all out, without appearing I'm something that I'm not, without, looking like a fool. They say tact of fools. That's not me. I know what works with handguns, okay, and self-defense. In most street battles with just handguns, I know it can work, okay? But then again, we have to be careful with street battles and the backstop. Are there innocent people there? If it's an all-out war situation and we're defending a city that's already in shambles, chances are children are not going to be there. So you won't care at that point. But we're still defending our city. We want to keep vibrant commerce alive with, people alive with, families alive with, education alive with, police departments alive with, you name it. Okay, especially commerce for our living. And we all know who the enemy is that's against capitalism. They're communists, and communism never works. Tell that to your liberal frickin' millennial idiots that believe the government knows better than you. Well, okay, do you know God? If you knew God, you wouldn't think like that people had to be controlled by a government, because you're making government the idol to harm people by order and decree. That's why the Constitution is there. Read it. Anyways, I'm philosophizing again. Trick out your stuff. Keep it simple. Stupid. Keep it simple. Silly. Okay? I love this, and this was a good buy for layaway. And finally got it where I want it, and I can carry it. Thank you, guys. Please please have a safe day out there, and look out for those gems. Those gems right there, $149 is still worth it. Thank you. Take care.